Gabe, it's great to see you. Love the facial hair growing in. And a lot of people, when polled, they really sort of cite the fears that they have about traveling. I mean, who knew a month ago that we'd be looking at a time when airline travel has all but disappeared, cruise lines are not running. So talk to us about what we can expect in the coming months. And will prices be soaring?
So yeah, Derek, I think that's probably something to look forward to. The fact that after this is said and done, after we've sort of wrapped our heads around this whole thing, travel could be as inexpensive as it's been in a very long time. That's just sort of what we're expecting here on the other side of this curve, if you will. But it is a moving target. Those of us who are trying to figure out when is the normal, and I'm putting normal in quotes, going to return to the travel experience. And the industry as a whole is really looking at, I mean, we're following the news of the day, which dictates our own behavior as consumers, which hopefully will let us know when we are anticipating beginning to feel comfortable with traveling again. Data that's coming out on a weekly basis is showing that people are still concerned. They're concerned about contracting this virus. They're concerned about passing it on. They're concerned about how it's affecting the economy. We're talking ranges in numbers of 75 to 85% of people really still having that as the forefront thought. How is this affecting me personally and in my day-to-day life? Clearly, our ability to want to travel is going to be affected by that. Now, pent-up demand is there. 70% of people say, listen, I'm excited to go back to traveling ASAP. So there is that pent-up demand there. But people are still concerned about cruising. They're concerned about international travel. They're concerned about staying at hotels. At least in the short term here, guys, I'd say over the next 1 to 2 months, we'll start to see that soften up. And hopefully the summer brings that bonanza of bargains we're talking about. And I think fall could then become the new summer for a lot of U.S. travelers.
You know, Gabe, there's so many people. I was talking to a friend of mine and they said, you know, they have a schedule in their house and that's now turned into a vision board for the family. They are putting on there what trips they want to take because obviously travel has, you know, no one has been traveled. Everybody's been grounded. So clearly the desire is high. But what about this effects of not only the desire, but the planning when it comes around this? You can't really plan right now.
Yeah, that's the tough part for a lot of consumers, feeling comfortable with, okay, listen, I can realistically and dependably look at the calendar and know that at the end of July, end of September, beginning of November, whatever it is, I will be able to take this trip that we have either postponed or have, you know, sort of planned in the midst of being stuck at home. And that's the moving target that everybody's trying to nail down. I think what'll happen is that as the news begin to become more positive, as numbers we're seeing on a day-to-day basis and these news conferences, for example, begin to become much more manageable, less dramatic, then people will feel more comfortable about traveling. But listen, I mean, staying at home, being quarantined has really sort of heightened and magnified things like you know, staying safe, not contracting any virus, let alone coronavirus. So how will that affect how far away from home we're willing to go? I think it's those short trips that'll benefit right out of the gate, right? So it's getting the kids and the family that we're quarantined with into the family car and maybe driving a couple of hours within the state of Texas. Maybe that's the first trip we're going to do. Maybe looking at flying domestically, that comes maybe a couple of months later. I think international travel, certainly cruising, will take even longer to ramp back up. So I think it's those short. I think this presents an opportunity for destination marketing organizations in small towns throughout the state of Texas, across the country, that are usually in the shadows of the New Yorks and the LAs, that may stand to benefit here because it's a chance for them to really allure people in with this idea that these are more off the beaten path destinations. There's more elbow room out there when you get there. You're not in these cramped environments. Those are the kinds of trips I think we'll feel most comfortable with as soon as it begins to become clear that some normalcy is returning to our travel planning habits.
Yeah, and we always love booking on Southwest because they don't have the change fees, so you can book a few months in advance, and then if you can't, you know, you can change it no problem. Hey, Gabe, what do you know about the loyalty programs for hotel chains and airlines? Because a lot of folks have expressed frustration that their status, they're unable to use it for such a large chunk of 2020.
Yeah, that's a great point. By the way, you mentioned Southwest. I should say that really most airlines now have expanded the window of flexibility. United, for example, has extended all the way to the end of this year, end of 2020, as far as you being able to book a flight and say change it last minute, even if it's later down the road. So that flexibility has become more pervasive now. Certainly, Southwest has always been the leader of that pack. Loyalty programs have become a very interesting tool for travel companies to hang on to their loyal flyers and loyal visitors. So you're seeing hotel chains like Marriott, you're seeing all the major airlines taking the status you have now and extending it. And really, these are status levels that are dependent on your activity. Well, if there is no activity, what happens to the fact that I've got a certain status with a certain airline? They've pushed all that status. They basically frozen it in place and now and pushed it all the way into the beginning of 2022 even. So this is a big 18 to 20 month window now where they're going. The expectation is that it is going to be a bit of a slow ramp up to our travel habits. Let's hold on to the status we have now. It's a way for us to come back to the travel companies we depend on and are used to and are accustomed to probably first as we begin to get back to the more dependable traveling habit. So your status with most of your travel programs are intact now for at least a year and a half. And that's going to make it easier for us to sort of go to airlines and hotel brands when we start traveling again.
And Gabe, we have about a minute left, and I love this. You said this at the top of the interview that basically fall is the new summer. So if you are looking at something, basically look for those deals later on.
Yeah, I would start scoping. I mean, you're seeing less marketing of deals right now. There are deals out there. People are booking. For example, interestingly, car rentals are looking pretty healthy for the summer and late summer, fall season. Cruising bookings for early 2021, and we're talking about those core avid cruisers, about 15% of the U.S. population. They're actually booking cruises for early 2021 now because they've had to obviously scrap plans for this year. So there is some in the horizon. There is already some booking going on. I think, again, what will happen in June, I'm thinking June will be the turnaround. You'll start to see a more aggressive marketing of travel bargains and deals out there. I think most of the summer will be sort of a bargain bonanza for travelers. And I think we'll start to do some more dependable traveling ourselves as a community of American travelers come the fall season. And then we'll continue to follow the news of the day. As we know, this will continue probably to be a moving target for the next many months. So how we balance that with this desire that for a lot of us is starting to really, percolate to the top now, to want to get out there and travel, how those two will merge and we'll be able to do the kind of travel we want to do safely and smartly.
Gabe Saglier, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us today. And we look forward, once this is all over, when you are able to travel back to Studio B and hang out with us here on Houston Life.
Thanks very much.
Likewise.
Stay safe, guys.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
Great to see you.
In the meantime, if you'd like to connect with Gabe, you can check out our website, HoustonLife.tv, and look for the Scene on Houston Life section.